Welcome to today's episode of Tax Matters and welcome to the month of December 2013. God has been wonderful, hasn't he? On today's episode of Tax Matters, we'll be taking you around the world of taxation in Nigeria by giving you a ringside glimpse of happenings in the world of taxation in the recent weeks. Take a seat, take a drink, and enjoy this interesting journey with us. My name is Christina Pius. Welcome once again. We begin our journey with stories on two events organized by the Government Business Tax Department of the FIRS, one in Lagos and the other in Port-Harcourt. On Thursday, 14th November 2013, the Government Business Tax Department held a sensitization workshop at the Excellence Hotel Ogba in Lagos. The event was a workshop on activities of Government Business Tax Department for ministries, departments, and agencies in Lagos State. The workshop was graced by Mr. A.J. Bamidele, Coordinating Director, Fields Operation Group at the FIRS.
I'm delighted to welcome all to this sensitization workshop tagged Partnering for Compliance, organized to bring to the fore the rights, roles, and obligations of MTAs towards improved tax compliance. The objective of this sensitization is to educate all of us on how to sustain the partnership that has been built or in existence and strengthen it further for our mutual benefit. That's why we have both the administrator and the taxpayer on seat. Together, we can build the Nigeria of our dream and leave a legacy that is enduring for generations yet unborn.
Papers were presented by Mr. Malik Tuko of the FIRS, Mr. Gaba Muaze, and Mr. Anango Lima, also of the FIRS. And at the end of it all, followed an interactive question and answer session between the participants and the FIRS officials.
There is need for us to know more about these roles and responsibility of collecting agents in terms of creating team for taxpayers, because it's like the sole responsibility of FIRS, the way you have told us. But because we want to collect for the government and we don't want that person to run away, is it not possible to empower the collecting agent to create team for the taxpayer?
In a situation where we give our vehicles to a roadside mechanic to work on, and at the end of it we want to tax that person, he has bought one thing or the other at the real amount in the market. And when we want to tax him, is it on the whole amount or on his labor?
In a contract between the government and a contractor, I want to seek clarification on who is supposed to remit VAT between the government and contractor, because I know VAT is a consumption tax, and I believe the contractor is the one supplying the government, so the government is consuming. So I want to find out who is supposed to remit VAT. Is it the government or the contractor?
When the local governments award a contract and the contractor does not have a TIN number, how do we remit? Because this issue of TIN number has remained a sore point. We collect. The guys from the FIRS will come, they will carry out some form of reconciliation. But the question is this: even though they issue letter that we pay and we remit to them, how does the contractor get acknowledgement?
Mr. Olufemi Fani is the Director of Government Business Tax Department.
There was a question on ITAS. It's an acronym for Integrated Tax Administration System, which is intended to automate all our core tax processes. So very soon we want to get to that point where anything manual, to a large extent, will have been eliminated. ITAS will even go beyond that point. I think my CD mentioned it, that there is coming a point, the paper presenter also said that when your credits, the beneficiaries' credits will automatically go to their respective accounts. You don't even need a paper. You find it right there with us in our respective offices. But a paper for acknowledgement of it will be a byproduct of that. And I guess banks can also be considered to hook up to that towards generating such papers in the very near future. Mr. Fadansi simply said, who remits VAT? Is it the agency or the contractor? The convention is for the contractor to charge and remit. But that's the essence of our gathering here, that when it comes to MDAs, when it is an MDA that is the consumer, it's a reverse position. That the law takes you as our partners. We have confidence in you, more trust, being sisters, children of the same parents. And therefore, instead of giving it to somebody who may pocket the money, remit to FRS directly. But you are bearing, the agency is bearing that, mind you. Lastly, on somebody from Apapa local government said, where there is no thing, yes, how do we remit? Yeah, but fine, we can as well ask or admonish when a contractor at the point of bidding, where there is no team, is disqualified. I mean, there are several conditions before you pre-qualify somebody for contract. Team is now a very principal thing. And where there is no team, of course, sometimes you ask for their tax clearance certificate and so on. If something as basic as team is not available, I don't think that contractor is serious. Why give him the contract in the first place? Then the mechanic workshop question. The mechanic workshop, a registered mechanic workshop, I think he wondered whether it should be 10% or 5%, and the confusion could be between taking it as a professional service or as a contract of supply of service. There is nothing really professional in a mechanic's work. Professional services will mean things like medical, architectural design, and some high value this thing. It should be 5%. It's a contract of supply of service, and it should be 5%.
And on Tuesday, 26 November 2013, the FRS Government Business Tax Office in Rivers State gathered together officials of the ministries, departments and agencies of the state government, local government officials and bankers for another workshop on compliance with the provision of the tax laws by MDAs in a centralized accounting system, record keeping and tax payment. Mr. N.Y. Abu, the Accountant General of the Rivers State Ministry of Finance, delivered the paper on compliance with the provisions of laws in a centralized system. While Dr. Friday Anuya, Zonal Coordinator GBTD South-South Zone, delivered a paper on taxation of contract and direct labor expenditures of MDAs. Mr. H.M. Ibrahim is the State Monitor of the FRS Government Business Tax Office in Port-Harcourt.
The sensitization is really meant to really educate, enlighten, and clarify issues of taxes that relates to government business. Government business is a new creation in Federal Inland Revenue Service, and it was created last year, November, to address issues of taxes and the taxes paid by government agencies, ministries, and local councils, and to resolve all problems and issues that emanate while operating this new tax office.
Mr. N.Y. Abu, the lead paper presenter, is the Accountant General of the Rivers State Government.
We have always been tax compliant and will continue to be. I believe you all are party to seeing the bulk of the directors of finance here. We made them to be here to ensure that they all pay their taxes as I went through. Although the lectures went on, you are all aware that we have a centralized payment system. And as such, the directors of finance on their own don't have much to do. But in case there are subcontracts, there are other things that they must have to do. They are all here to listen and make sure that they are compliant just like the state is. The River State government have given autonomy to the Board of Internal Revenue. So anybody is free to go there to ask of what they should do. If they need more education, they should insist on getting education. and insist on seeing what their monies are used for. They have right to ask government what these taxes they are paying is used for.
Every day, my people they for work. Some they do office work. Some get them own business. So all of them want good road, constant power for better life. Whether now office work, oh yeah, pay your tax. Whether now your own business, oh pay your tax. If you want a better life, oh pay your tax. Now your civic responsibility, pay your tax. Better soup, now money cook more. Oh yes. Nothing goes for nothing, my brother. If you want potable water, security and hospital for make life jolly.
That's right. Good roads, good hospitals, portable water, adequate security all come from taxpayers' money. Play your part in making Nigeria great. Everybody, small scale, big companies, entrepreneurs, do the right thing. Pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
You're watching Tax Matters, and we're continuing our journey through the happenings in the world of taxation in recent past. On Thursday, 21st November 2013, the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, held its 29th induction of newly qualified and newly registered members into its fold. The occasion was presided over by the president of the institute, Mr. MSCDK. The induction ceremony was declared open by the special guest of honor, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information, Niger State, Alhaji Balamoni. It was not just hold-taking for the 548 new members, as they were also fed with intellectual food. Mr. A.O. Olubanjo delivered the induction paper on revenue generation and tax management in a growing economy, issues and challenges.
We all know that government is expected to provide services to the public. In a federal system like Nigeria, revenue generation is an important issue because it is through this activity that the government sources finance for funding operations. Thus, to a large extent, determining the quantity and the quality of services provided to the generality of the people within the country depends on the quantity and amount of money generated as revenue. It is imperative, therefore, that government, as the engine of growth and development, should map out strategies for improved revenue generation. Now, there are key elements of effective revenue generation. One, the policies that determine the rates of taxation. The policies that are laid down must be such that revenue generation will be easy to administer. The tax administration system, the system for administering these policies, these regulations, how is it being done? Is the government giving the people who are administering the encouragement? Are they giving them the infrastructure that is necessary, the capacity that will enable them achieve much? Is it available for them? And then, lastly, the extent of economic activity on those things that are being taxed.
The President, Mr. MSCDK, advised the new inductees on their roles, duties, and responsibilities as tax professionals.
Prospective members, professional colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, there is no saying the facts that taxation is the basic bedrock necessary for a sustainable development of any nation. Any government that is therefore desirous of improving the quality of life of its citizens through good and qualitative governance must not relegate taxation to the background. In fact, such government should not only recognize the importance of tax professionals in tax policy formulation, tax administration, and tax practice, but should also accord them due priority in its drive to evolve a viable tax system. It therefore behoves CITN, the sole regulator of taxation profession in Nigeria, to ensure that only competent and certified professionals practice and administer taxation in Nigeria. My dear inductees, the strides so far made by the Institute can be attributed to the untiring efforts of committed members who have made it a point of duty to sacrifice their time, their finances, intellect, through active participation in institute's activities and programs. I urge you as members, incoming members, as soon as you become one, to contribute even more in ensuring that CITN continues to maintain an enviable position in the League of Professional Bodies. Council expects the highest sense of professionalism and integrity in the discharge of your duties to your clients and your employers and to all other stakeholders in order to enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of the tax system. I want to plead that in all that we do, we must endeavor to observe our code of conduct as a golden rule. In other words, we must be disciplined and be ready to live above board like Caesar's wife at all times.
Lastly, the Joint Tax Board has held its 128th regular meeting in Abuja. The one-day meeting, which was held in Abuja on Monday, 25th November 2013, was presided over by the acting executive chairman of the FIRS, who is the chairman of the Joint Tax Board. In attendance were chairmen of the revenue boards in all the states, as well as other members representing the Federal Capital Territory Abuja, the Revenue Mobilization, Fiscal and Allocation Commission, the Federal Road Safety Commission, the Immigration Service, and other members. The 128th Joint Tax Board meeting was held in furtherance of its general role of enthroning a harmonious tax system in Nigeria. Among other things, the 128th Joint Tax Board meeting deliberated upon the proposal by the Nigerian police to introduce biometric data card, the Federal Road Safety Corps plate number registration and driver's license, the TIN project, and the committee's report on the issues of multiple taxation and harmonization of taxes in the country.
When we saw that the police issued adverts talking about the biometric registry, I wrote a letter to the Secretary to the government, and I also copied the Attorney General and reminded them of existing government position on the whether BCMR, DCMR, or ECMR, as the case may be. I reminded them that in 2004, this matter went to Council, and Council rejected it under President Obasanjo and said they should refer it to FRSC and work together. And Joint Tax Board held a position then that no other person is empowered to collect any form of road taxes except the Joint Tax Board. In 2008, they came back with the Puzzles Group. This time they called it the DCMR. And the committee was set up under the Minister of Interior, General Abe. After extensive meeting where JTB restated its position and other stakeholders restated their position, a letter was written to the then President Umaru Yar'Adua, and in that letter, specific request was made to the President by General Abe, and the President then approved that position then, and the position was that the Joint Tax Board said they have consistently opposed the collection of fees from motorists by the police. The Nigerian police is not empowered by law to collect road taxes, and the Nigerian police should liaise with FRSC. And the President approved that, Yar'Adua, and brought the matter to a close. The people now came back to FRSC with a proposal on how they can build our vehicle identification tags, which is ongoing, and we have tried to upgrade our vehicle identification tag to contain an RFID reader, so that once the plate number and the data on the MVI on the tag doesn't match, you can immediately detect that somebody has tampered with the plate number. So the same group that had an existing agreement with the police now came back after President Yar'Adua approved this. While we are doing this and working on that project, another group came back now with biometric central motor registry, went through the Ministry of Police Affairs and got another agreement to the police. So the other group of DCMR is currently trying to sue the police that they have a subsisting agreement for DCMR and they can't go for BCMR. But anyway, all that's going on, the SGF invited me and the Inspector General and told us in unmistakable terms that the government, during the review of the Orosanye panel, have restated their position that all issues doing with database of vehicles, drivers should be left with FRSC. And that if there's any data they want, they should work with us. If there is data they want that is not currently being captured, we should capture it as one and give them. On no account should they go into another form of data capture. So I agreed with the IG to set up a work team to review the existing data we've collected and the one they want to see how we can harmonize it and make them collect that data. Because a motor registry is a place where you keep a register of records, not a place for collection of data. And we have always stated that as FRSC, we do not collect any money from the public. We deal with the states. We sell number plates to the states, driver's license to the states.
The infrastructure that we were meant to put on ground for the TEAM project, the Disaster Recovery Center and the Data Center, we've concluded that. We've also deployed the TEAM project equipment and infrastructure to all the states except Lagos and Borno states. For the application, about 24 states who have made payments are issuing TINs. The AFIS, the Central Automated Fingerprint, is also deployed. The Contact Management Center has been activated. We've concluded all trainings, including the CMC, the Contact Management Center agents training. There's no outstanding training again. In terms of change management, we ran the regional sensitization in 6 regions. Then we were to do that for the remaining 30 states. Out of the 30 remaining states, we did in 22 states. About 8 states are still outstanding. One of the things that I want to quickly mention to us is that over and above just issuing numbers, please, for states that are already issuing the numbers, can you begin to populate the database with some other issues that can be meaningful to you and to some other states as well? We had gone ahead to make the solution not just to issue numbers, but also to provide some level of data that can make you to share with other states.
In response to the request by the Ministerial Implementation Committee set up by the NEC to review recommendations on harmonization of taxes and levies, a technical meeting of the JTB members was held on the 13th and 14th November 2013. The members extensively discussed the submissions and reviewed the recommendations. The terms of reference: 1. Review the taxes and levies approved for Collection Act. 2. Collate all taxes and levies currently being administered by SBR, FRS, and user charges where applicable. 3. Collate laws establishing state revenue boards and legislation backing imposition of taxes, levies, fees, or fines in the states. And 4. Submit recommendation to the Ministerial Implementation Committee on harmonization of taxes and levies. Members identified all taxes and levies and user charges, fees, and fines currently administered by the State Boards of Internal Revenue and state ministries, departments, and agencies. Other taxes and levies not listed on the first schedule of the taxes and levies approved list for collection were listed on state-by-state basis. It was observed that the list was not exhaustive, as some other user charges being collected by MDAs in some states were not easily identifiable. It was agreed that the above list would be updated with additional submission by the State Board of Internal Revenue. The recommendations on harmonization of taxes and levies sent by the Ministerial Implementation Committee were discussed extensively. That withholding tax and payee should be inserted in a bracket in front of personal income tax and companies income tax, CIT, since they are not separate tax types as included in the Taxes and Levies Approved List for Collection Act.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Tax Matters. We hope you have enjoyed our journey round the world of taxation. Please join us next week. Same station, same time. Remember, it pays to pay your tax. Bye for now.